everybody. It's good to see everybody here today. Appreciate everybody coming out. This time I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, call the roll, please.
Master Combs? Here. Master Barger? Here. Master Tudor? Here. Master Buckley? Present. Just
Here. At this time, I would like to invite Mike Puckett from New Hope Free Will Baptist Church up to lead us in a word of prayer. Appreciate you being here.
Let's pray. Well, Heavenly Father, as we bow our hearts and our heads to Thee this morning, we thank You, dear Lord, for this privilege that we have to call upon Your name. We thank You this morning, dear Lord, for the privilege we have to stand this morning and, Lord, just to let our light shine for You. We pray, dear Lord, as we come to stay, that You would bless these as they come together, dear Lord, to conduct the business that they have before them. Lord, we pray that You would guide their thoughts and their hearts, and Lord, give them the wisdom to do the things what is best for this county and best for this area, dear Lord. We pray that You'd be with them, guide them, direct them. Lord, may everything be done pleasing to You. May everything be done be pleasing to Your will, we pray. We ask all this in Christ Jesus' name, and amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Sheriff, if you will, please.
Would please stand, face the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Thank you, Sheriff. Guys, y'all have had a chance to look over the minutes from the previous meeting. This time I need a motion and a second to approve them.
So moved. Second.
If there's no discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Combs? Yes. Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor? Yes. Master Buckley?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Guys, the treasurer's report is in your Dropbox. Glenn is actually off for a few days, so she won't be here to present. If you have any questions, feel free to raise them, call me. And what I'll have her do is at her next meeting, first meeting in May, I'll just have her to go over that meeting, if that's okay. First order of business, I would ask the court's permission to amend the agenda for Resolution 1714 grant application. I need a motion and a second to amend the agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
There's no discussion. Call the roll, please.
Master Buckley?
Yes.
Master Combs? Yes. Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor? Yes. Judge Taylor?
Yes. First on the agenda today is a proclamation. It's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we have Julie Malone here with us. And Julie, if you want to come up to the podium, do you want to say a few words? And I'll read the proclamation first, and then you can say a few words. And your title is Executive Director of CASA, yeah, which is Court Appointed Special Advocates. Whereas National Child Abuse Prevention Month will be recognized throughout the United States as well as in the Commonwealth of Kentucky during the month of April 2017. And whereas preventing child abuse and neglect is a community problem that depends on involvement among people throughout the community. And whereas during periods of economic challenges, families feel more vulnerable, and as a result, child abuse and neglect increases drastically. And whereas child abuse and neglect can be reduced by making sure each family has the support they need to raise their children in a healthy environment, and whereas child abuse is one of our nation's most serious public health problems, with scientific studies documenting the link between the abuse and neglect of children and a wide range of medical, emotional, psychological, and behavioral disorders, and whereas all citizens should become involved in strengthening families to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment, and whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships created among state and local government agencies, schools, faith communities, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Reagan Taylor, Madison County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2017 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Madison County, Kentucky. I urge all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to strengthen families, thereby preventing child abuse and creating healthier communities. So, Julie, thanks for being here today.
So CASA of Madison County, what we do is train and supervise volunteers to advocate for children who are currently in the court system who have experienced child abuse, whether it be dependency, neglect, or abuse. And so that volunteer follows the child, whether they're in their biological home or in their foster home, and then meets with their teachers, their physicians, and writes a report and submits that to the judge based on their recommendation of what's best for the child and what they see as the best outcome for that specific situation. So Friday evening we planted 429 pinwheels on the courthouse lawn, and that represents the 429 children who were involved in child abuse cases in Madison County for 2016. So we would love to walk alongside those children and then also prevent future abuse and see that number lower. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
What about your funding streams? I think that would be good, since we're on TV, that you can
Sure.
let people know where the money comes from and how they can help.
We have 3 main funding streams, so fundraisers and events, grants, and then individual donations. So we do, this is the first year we've received funding from the state of Kentucky, and then most everything else is smaller grants or fundraisers.
And how could somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to get involved or donate?
Sure. Our website is madisoncasa.org, and you can reach me at julie@madisoncasa.org, and our phone number is 859-408-7019.
Julie, what is the percentage of caseworkers you have now? Do you have anywhere near enough to cover?
No,
cases?
and we had been inactive for a few months and rebuilding. So currently we have 4 volunteer advocates in training, and they go through a 30-hour, pretty extensive in-person training to prepare to be a volunteer, and that is ongoing. So they will graduate mid-May, and then they will be appointed to a case by either Judge Shepard or Judge Wilson.
Now, will they only oversee one case at a time?
Typically, they'll do one case, and they usually volunteers give 5 to 10 hours a month with their child. And then we'll have our next volunteer training in July. So we would love to have people attend that.
Thank you, appreciate what you do.
Thanks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you being here. Here's your proclamation. You should come back by. Thank you very much for being here. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and do the Resolution 1714 grant application, which is why we amended the agenda. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court proposes to develop recreational resources to provide the health and well-being of the general public, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court intends to make applications to the Department for Local Government for assistance under the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act of 1965, whereas the Land and Water Conservation Fund is limited to funding a maximum of 50% of proposed project cost estimated at $150,000. Now therefore be it resolved that Madison County Fiscal Court hold in reserve 50% of the proposed project cost for the purpose of matching the Land and Water Conservation Fund assistance. And be it further resolved that in the event a grant is awarded, the Madison County Court understands that it will sign assurance to comply with all applicable federal and state laws, rules, regulations, especially Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act. So basically, it's a grant that is, we did a grant a few weeks ago for $100,000, which is going to go towards our Veterans Memorial Park, which that was a recreational trails program, which could not go towards our amphitheater idea. And so this grant here will actually be able to go towards our amphitheater idea. It is a 50-50 match, but obviously the county can have in-kind work, just like most of them are. So I need a motion and a second for Resolution 1714.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next on the agenda, second reading of ordinance 1702. This is our bond issue. I think everybody's pretty up to date on this. Obviously, nothing has changed. So I need a motion and a second for second reading of ordinance 1702 bond issue, which is obviously our property across the street that we're trying to purchase, that we're going to purchase.
So move.
Second.
One thing I do want to bring up is that there's an opportunity for us to do a 15-year bond instead of a 20-year bond, which saves us approximately about $1 million in interest. So it would make us basically have to come up with about $25,000 a year towards the payment, which is to me a no-brainer over 5 years to do that. I've talked to Glenna. We do have the extra $25,000 a year to be able to make that payment. So that's just really more for y'all's understanding and knowledge. So
I think anytime you pay off a note or bond early, you know, you can save yourself a lot of money. Maybe a little bit more up front, but if we do it for $25,000 a year.
yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the savings. You know, I mean, 25,000 times 15 is 375,000. So you're gonna save $1 million. I mean, that's a pretty good return on investment.
3 to 1, yeah.
Yeah. So
3 to 1, yeah.
all right. If no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes. Next is Resolution 1712. This is with the Northern Madison County Sanitation District. Whereas the Northern Madison County Sanitation District, a public subdivision of the Madison County government, Madison County, Kentucky, proposes to install a public water waste collection and transportation system in Madison County beginning at 3719 Irvin Road, continuing southeast to 227 Waco Loop Road, 0.08 miles total, to serve the citizens in the Waco Loop area. Whereas the installation of the aforesaid wastewater collection and transportation lines will in part entail utilization of right-of-ways for the roadways maintained by the Madison County Fiscal Court. Now therefore be it resolved by the Madison County Fiscal Court that we endorse the aforesaid wastewater collection and transportation project to serve the above-mentioned areas, and hereby grant permission for the utilization of the county road right-of-way with the understanding that all damages resulting from the proposed wastewater collection and transportation sewer lines along and or across the roadways in question shall be promptly repaired to equal or better condition prior to construction of the aforesaid improvements by the contractor of the sanitation district. Obviously we put in a new sewer plant out off 52. I believe is it Dreaming Creek? Drowning Creek. It's Drowning Creek, right? Yeah. And obviously they're trying to get up to those Waco Loop folks, plus get to Waco Grocery and the bank, tie in some of those commercial properties. They did hold public meetings, and it's been some time ago. I actually attended and actually had them go door to door to make sure that the constituents out there and the property owners wanted that, and they do. So,
Judge, I move we move forward with the resolution.
1712.
1712.
Second.
No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Resolution 1713. This is a resolution amending the existing contract with AT&T for the cell tower located at 353 Big Hill Avenue. The long and short of this is that we were paying just a little over $700, or they were paying us a little over $700 a month in rent. And I've even negotiated with them up to $1,100 a month in rent. So this is an amendment to the contract.
Can't argue with that.
I hope not.
So moved.
Second.
If no discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Bodkin?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is first reading of ordinance 1703 administrative code. I think Ms. Rachel is going to come up and present this to us. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. Okay, so as you look over the admin code that was in Dropbox, there is a lot of red. Just to clarify, most of it is what has been practiced, but it hasn't been put into policy yet. So I put it all into policy, and then as I review this, I'm just going to point out a bunch of clarifications that we put in there, as well as any additions. So we'll go ahead and start. On page 10, In the section 1.2 in authority, we broke down, you'll see county offices led by constitutional officers as well as places that maintain county insurance benefits for their employees, and whether or not if they adopt their own admin code or do their own human resource functions, then that just breaks down what is required by them. If you go to 1.7 on page 13 for department operation manuals, this is just to clarify that all departments must update their manuals every 2 years by the month of June and have that approved by the judge executive.
Rachel,
Yeah.
in 1.4 of that,
Mhm.
in the definitions, you have gross salary, then you have immediate family.
Yes.
In the gross salary sentence, you have executive team in there. I think that needs to be broke out as a different definition.
Yes, thank you. Okay. And then on page 18 would be the next one. Anything else that was through those pages is just clarification as well. And then with use of county property, we added that any agency that is covered under the Madison County Fiscal Court's property liability policy shall comply with the Madison County's drug testing policy. And return of county property, which is 1.15. It's just that in the event an employee separates from Madison County Fiscal Court, all county property must be returned within 2 business days after their last day of employment, and that describes what the county property entails. On page 24, in section 2.7, or no, I'm sorry, 2.9, background investigations. This is just another clarification that persons employed for certain departments who have access to AOC and CJIS information require a second round of background checks. Page 29, 2.14 in separation. This again is just clarification under the resignation part on page 30 during the employee's last 2 weeks. That breaks that down. More clarification of practice, that is now policy. Also in the retirement section. So the submission of the retirement paperwork shall serve as the notice of separation as of the date indicated. End of term is more clarification. On 2.16 on page 31, employed by different departments.
Rachel,
Yes,
before we do that, will we go back to page 26?
of course.
In 2.9, the paragraph right above 2.10, it says prior convictions will not necessarily disqualify an applicant from employment with the company. I think we mean employment with the county.
Where you at, Tom?
I'm on page 26.
Right above 210.
210, above 210.
You just clarified from helping to the county.
Okay. On page 31, in 2.17 for county email, that's just a clarification now that Madison County Fiscal Court employees under the judge executive have county email. And 2.18, identification cards. Under the authority shall receive a county issued identification card, and that just describes how each badge is encrypted and that they can't share it with others. On page 35, section 3.5, medical decisions, that's just a clarification. Practice turned into policy. Page 37, 4.1, additional clarification. And we added an intermittent employee, which are people that work very sporadic and they do not work every month. So that was an addition under the classifications.
I'd like to ask a question too. In regular part-time,
Yes.
there's a reference in the middle of the paragraph about some FTEs could qualify for some form of affordable care health coverage in either 2015 or 2016 based on their average number of hours worked. Why are we referencing 2015 and 16?
This is the existing policy, right? And so you probably just left some material in from that
We just need to make,
presently adopted.
we just need to make an update on that.
So anything not in red is what we presently have, in fact, is that right?
Correct, yes. Under 4.2, hours of work, that's again clarification since not everyone had a standard work day. Just made more sense that way. That it varies upon each department. Section 4.3 of our overtime, it was also clarification under leave, or for leave time. On page 41, 4.6, personnel information, under pay stubs. This breaks down if in the event an employee needs a copy of their pay stub, what process they need to take, as well as if they request someone other than themselves to pick up any information, breaks that down. Same with paychecks and benefit information. And then 4.7, county records. It's that we follow the document retention schedule posted by the Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives and the process that department heads should go if they have to destroy a document. On page 44, in 4.10, promotions and pay increases.
Before we get to that, Rachel, and on the bottom of page 42, the airfare, the last sentence on that, can we do something with the phrase or the statement, it's lowest coach fare?
Okay.
It doesn't, I understand what the intent is, but it needs to be reworded into a sentence or something that's just a 3-word statement.
What are you trying to get there, Tom?
What I'm trying to say is that if this is a description, it says airfare, the finance administrator handles all airfare reservations, period. It said, then it says lowest coach fare, period.
Okay. Yes,
County judge executive approves, that's not a sentence, that's really not anything.
right. Yeah, I got you.
Well, if you just
Statement.
add
It needs-
Just expand it a
at
little bit.
lowest coach fares.
It just needs to be turned into a sentence, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
problem.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Then for 4.10, promotions and pay increases, Magistrate Combs brought this up a couple meetings back about how we needed a little bit more explanation for it. And so that's broken down for under the annual budget process as well as throughout the year on promoting employees and their pay. And then we also added a spiking section to go in relation to the Senate Bill 104 that's come out.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome. On page 47, section 5.5, this is for approving time cards. This is again practice that is now turned into policy for time cards. And as well as 5.6 for the leave request process. Just more clarification. On 5.8, holidays. So the part in red for in the event that a county observed holiday falls on a day when an employee is scheduled off, they shall take the day off before the holiday unless it is a Monday where they would take the day after. So this was an issue with multiple departments that had different work schedules. If the holiday happened on a Friday, then they will now take off that Thursday. That way they still receive the time off, like other employees.
But you've excluded the fire, 911 and jail employees?
Correct. Yep. Because they're emergency services.
I understand.
Okay. Then under 5.9 sick leave, under the sick leave donation program, we took the criteria and changed it to that the employee is eligible for family medical leave, just to clarify, because it made a lot more sense in the long run. And it says, employees want to participate must submit the sick leave donation program paperwork and receive the necessary signatures before the before the HR department will open up the bank. And then on page 57, 5.18, in personal leave, we added from 5 to 10 years of service, 8 hours of personal time. And then the drug and alcohol-free workplace policy that is attached, that will be brought to you all at a later date. So that is not included in the admin code right now. Good. Alrighty.
There's a lot of, Rachel, a lot of good changes been made in this. Reading through it, you can see a lot of thought was put into the actual way that we do things. And so I think this is a very good update, a good guideline for folks to actually have a good working document that they can use. And appreciate your work on that.
Rachel, will each employee receive a copy of this admin code?
Yep. Yeah, and training for it.
Job well done.
Alrighty. Thank
Thank
you.
You can call them both. So do I have a motion on the first reading of ordinance 1703, administrative code?
So moved.
So,
Is there any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Combs?
yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Tudor?
Yes.
Mr. Buckton?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes. Next is our Madison County Employee Benefits and Insurance. Colleen's she got a little presentation of also Bud Carr here. Bud Carr is also here.
Good morning. I'm standing in for Glenna, who is out today. We're going to go through the health insurance proposal for the 2017-18 season. And I don't know if I have anything to actually move this PowerPoint forward, Chris. All right, next slide. This is just a timeline to give you guys a sense of where we are. This process takes quite a bit of work, both in discussing with various individuals on the private sector provider side, then to put the information together to you, to brief the judge with a recommendation, bring it to court. But I understand from informal discussions that there may be some questions, and if so, here's an alternate timeline just in case you need it. So April 25th, which is today, we are scheduled to have a health insurance program approved. If you are not comfortable today, then a special meeting would need to be called to ensure that we have the following deadlines met. May 1st, 2017, packets distributed to employees for review. This gives them 14 days to review. May 15th through 19th is our scheduled open enrollment. And then May 22nd is the deadline to have information processed in order to have it to the state for the sheriff and the clerk to have their benefits taken out of their check, as well as for our pay period for it to be reflected on our employees' checks. So in the event that we opt not to do something today, that's fine. We just know that we'll need to call a special meeting for that. Next slide. So right now, we're going to talk a little bit about the supplemental plans that are going to be offered, and this is regardless of what medical selection that you choose. These are opt-in for individuals. The red highlights the changes. In short, we would still have Guardian providing vision, life, AD&D. The basic life has gone up 5.8%, and short-term disability previously was offered by AFLAC, but they no longer are offering that short-term disability. So Guardian would be picking up that offer for our employees if they were interested. The Delta Dental rate held, the COBRA rate held, and then obviously for the voluntary individual products like AFLAC, we've got some decrease in some of those programming for employees. The decision that we're looking today at that I think has more questions for you all is the two options that we have before the county with regards to models. We have a fully insured model, which is what our historic model has been here for the county. And then we would have a self-insured model, and we're going to kind of go through each of those. The fully insured model is going to be the Baptist Health Plan that we used this past year in 16-17. And the self-insured model is going to be United Healthcare. That probably sounds familiar. We have used UHC in the past. Prior to going to Baptist Health Plan, UHC was the provider in 2016 and Bud, I believe, for years prior to that as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the differences in the two.
When you say self-insured, explain that.
Sure. So, Bud, do you want to kind of reference the self-insured?
Self-insured, and we'll get to that, but what you do now is you pay a premium. You're fully insured, so your rates have been going up significantly. They were going up 19.5%, which Colleen has that there. This year, and when you pay a premium, that money's gone. You're paying it to the insurance company. If you run good, you don't get any money back. If you run bad, you get a bigger increase next year, okay? We've been able to put Band-Aids on that throughout the years with the HRA, which you're familiar with. Then last year, the HMO network, which helped make it affordable for everybody. But we're out of options with that. So self-funded means you're the insurance carrier. You'll pay the fixed cost to United Healthcare, which is really UMR, that's their TPA, but it's United Healthcare's network, large network. So the fixed costs are about $150 a month, is that right? $150 a month that you'll pay to them to administer all the claims, take care of everything, keep everything accurate, but also to have stop-loss insurance. And what that means is a large claimant runs up a $5 million claim, and we've seen them. That doesn't hit you. You're up to $100,000. Your specific stop-loss is $100,000 per member in a benefit year. That's the maximum that you'd have to pay for a claimant, okay? And then you have an aggregate stop-loss. A lot of our groups don't use aggregate, but I think just to be conservative the first couple of years, we added that on. It's only an increase of about $11,000, I think, a year to have that, and that's if you just blow it out of the water, not the claims that the reinsurance pays, but the claims that you pay. If you blow it out of the water and hit the maximum, then they will reimburse you whatever's over that. Now, in all my years, and I've got a lot of them, you're supposed to be wisdom, I don't know if that counts, but experience. I got a lot of experience. I've only seen 2 groups hit their maximum attachment points, what they call it. One of them got a reimbursement of $15,000, the other around $40,000. So, you know, you probably won't hit that, but that's there as a safeguard for you. So, and the bottom line, Larry, is you're funding, now when you pay your premiums, you're paying them to fund the account to pay the claim. So at the end of the year, we're hoping, I mean, you can always hope, but you're gonna hit right close to what you're funding. If you have a better year and hit less, that money stays in that account to start with for the next year. Roll, yeah, absolutely. And it gives you more control of your health plan, your benefits. You can design a lot of different things. And UMR, which is United Healthcare, is the largest TPA in the nation. Okay, so we got a lot of business with them. We feel real comfortable with them. They can dive into all kinds of reports, and I think you'll be pleased with that.
So the first option that you have to consider is to stay with the Baptist Health Plan, which is what we used this past year. Under that, you would have the HRA, which would be the health reimbursement account. We would be moving that administration from Connector Care to McGregor. Bud's team looked at both fully insured and partially self-funding proposals, and even so much as talking to Humana and Anthem, whose rates just were not competitive. So what we were looking at is a comparison between a fully insured Baptist Health Plan, and then we also looked at United's plan. But when you compared the two, Baptist Health's plan, when it came to a fully insured model, was by far the best price point. Having said that, it comes with a 19.5% increase from the current rate to the 2017 rate. And we'll talk a little bit about that difference in a minute. Next slide. Next slide. Hit it again, Chris. Okay. So in this particular situation, you can see on the Baptist Health Plan, the yellow is the current, and the blue as well, the current and the renewal, for the basic plan and the high plan. But what you're seeing there is about 250,000, or that 19.5% increase.
Can I say something on that slide?
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at your high and your core plan, okay, it's the same exact benefits. Same exact benefits. The difference is in the network. Remember last year, we were able to get that core plan down to where it was affordable by offering that HMO only network, where you could only use Baptist facilities, Baptist providers, and that was it. If you didn't use Baptist providers, you had no coverage, unless it's an emergency. So that's the difference in the two plans, not the benefits. Benefits the same. It's just which network you want. Now, by moving to, if you stay fully insured, you'll still have that network. You'll still have the HMO versus the regular network. Moving to self-funded, you've got the large network of United Healthcare, which they are the largest national carrier in the nation.
Use any provider you choose.
Well, not exactly, but they've got a very extensive and broader network. But yes, as far as if you're asking about the UK, just like you do now with the BHP network. Now, there are some physical therapists they may not have in their network, but, you know, there's a way to look that up. And, I'm going to say in Kentucky, probably 95% of every provider out there is in their network, so you won't have any issues there.
Next slide. So this is option number 2, changing to a self-insured plan, and Bud's talked a little bit about what that looks like. This would be our low or core plan, as he's referencing. That core plan would also offer our employees a health savings account, or what's informally called an HSA plan, or HSA account, which we think would be a great added benefit for our employees as well as for us. And then obviously the higher plan, which is the UHC PPO, and you can see the difference between deductible out-of-pocket, co-pays, and then obviously the post-deductible coverage of county versus employee is going to be 80 versus 20. And then in the prescription, this is an important thing to note, is that under the core plan, you would have the UHC contract price, so that's as opposed to retail price. You would have that contract price. And then with the high plan, it'd be the 10, 30, 50, and 25, as is pretty standard for most part. Next slide. So when we look at option 2 and the cost to the employee, you still have that low core plan with the HSA option. I will say, in full disclosure, there will be a few limited exceptions to individuals able to get the HSA plan. Those are individuals if this is their second coverage, if they have primary coverage with another plan. So those are some things that we'll make sure to communicate to our employees, but that's going to be a very small % of our population that would go with the core plan that would have an exception with the HSA. And then obviously you're looking at 0 for the employee for the core plan, and then the per paycheck for the higher plan 25. Now it's important to note that in every past year, the core plan is at 0 and the high plan has an upfront paycheck cost. And obviously then you're looking at employee spouse, employee children, and family plans. Next slide. So the benefits of option 2 for us, obviously we know we've lived with option 1, so we really already have a pretty good knowledge base of what option 1 brings for us. The benefits for option 2 is that our high plan costs less than what is the current high plan, but actually offers a broader network for individuals. That wider network of doctors is similar to the network that our employees were used to in 2015 and prior. That is not to say that that network is identical to what they had in 2015, because doctors go in and out of the programs. So I just want to make sure we're really clear that we're not saying it's exactly 2015, but that network is that broad plan. And if the claims are less than projected, the county banks and rolls that balance for future years, giving the county more control over future health insurance rates. So if we do, and we're going to show a slide as to how that works. Next slide. Just in full disclosure, downfalls to option 2. Downfalls may not be exactly the right word, but some things that you want to consider when you're looking at option 2. We would need to ensure we had the stop loss insurance plan that covers the employees that go over $100,000 in cost. That means that when we hit that threshold, stop loss would pick up the balance. It's almost like our own independent insurance plan. And then the county also would want to maintain an aggregate loss, largely because we haven't built up a pool, a balance in our rainy day fund from having previous years rolled in. So the aggregate loss may not be something down the road that we need, but for the short term, we would recommend that. The costs for those plans are already included in the county costs for employees that you saw. So when we look at these numbers, those costs already include the 2 insurance aggregate and stop loss costs already included in that program cost.
When you say the stop loss will pick it up, are you talking about the county or the insurance?
After it hits that 100,000, then the stop loss would pick that up.
Okay.
Anything in excess of that.
Because
And likewise with the 1.8 million, which is our max claims.
100,000, you know, when you say 100,000, that's a lot of money. That's nothing when you go to have surgery, so.
Correct.
Believe it or not, you've got a lot in the years that go over 100,000.
Oh,
That's what
absolutely.
the stop loss is for. The insurance carrier
Okay.
who is charging a premium, which is included in all this, pays that.
When you enroll into a program that has a rollover fund in it, are you pretty much locked in to that for the next year? Or are
Talking
you
about
gonna,
the HSA,
yeah, are you gonna lose
For
that?
the employee or for the county?
Either one. If
So the
you-
employee moves with them. So if an employee were to have banked 100,000 in their account, well, it's like $1,000. That's a little excessive. Sorry, I was reading that 100,000 up there. 1,000. No employees get excited. 1,000 in their account, and they opt to move and go into the private sector. They would take that 1,000. Their contractual relationship is with the HSA account.
Okay.
It's like a bank account, so it would roll with them. As for the corporate,
corporate's whatever it is. In other words, if you run good, that money stays, you funded it, that money stays there, so you got a head start on the next year. And that's what we mean by helping to control costs. If you have a bad year, and you will once every 5-6 years, hopefully not, but that's usually a general rule of thumb, you'll max out, but you'll have that extra in there from previous years.
but I think your question is, does self-insured limit you to having to be with UHC versus Baptist Health versus Anthem
Right,
versus
right.
you would have the flexibility to make that portable? That's
Yeah,
not.
it's our
It's our money. It's our bank account, our cash.
So it would roll. It's just like it. I think you're going to say it. I won't say it. At HRA, we already
Next
have
slide.
some.
So the health savings account is only eligible for the low plan option or the core plan. The employer, which would be us, the county, is going to do $50 per employee per month. That's $25 a paycheck. That account moves with the employee no matter where they are in employment, or if they are even going into retirement, they hold
Right,
that account. So it doesn't even mean they have to stay in the workforce. As they retire or move out, they would keep that bank. That rolls year to year. So if they do very well in keeping their costs down, as they start to manage their own health care, and next year they have a balance, they can continue to roll that. There is a long-term cap, I believe, to that of what, 5,000?
It's, for a single, you can contribute pre-tax up to $3,400 for 2017. That goes up a little bit every year. If you have more than one on your health plan, just more than one, then you can do $6,750 is the max that you can pre-tax into your HSA account.
I was
And that
asking
includes
Judge
the
Taylor.
employer's
So
contribution.
these are pre-tax contributions?
They are.
For the employee,
Right.
for the
Right.
employee, what the employer is doing is trying to seed that
That's right.
account
Right.
with that $50 to kind of, that's $600 a year, so if your deductible's $3,000, it's actually $2,400.
Right.
Yeah.
The other advantage of the HSA here is that employees can match, like we talked about, up to that certain amount pre-tax. And that really is a benefit when you look at what they can spend that on. So, if you're going right now and getting and have dental or vision or prescriptions, right now you would be, if it's not covered on your medical plan, you're paying for that out of pocket. You can use your HSA on dental, you can use your HSA on vision. And so, for example, if you were to be buying glasses today under our current plan, you would be getting that post-tax. You'd be paying that out of your paycheck, with the cash that's in your bank, and then receiving it. If you do it pre-tax, it's almost like you've received a 33% increase in the amount of money in your bank, because that's all pre-tax. And the fact that you can use those non-traditional costs to cover that would be a huge benefit for our employees, to be able to roll those over into some non-traditional options. And we talked about before, you don't receive the retail price on a lot of those options. You would receive the UHC contracted price, and that's, with regards to prescriptions, a lot more focused in the medical arena. But those are benefits as well. Next
And
slide.
that varies, doesn't it, Colleen, guarantee, or the provider's retail price?
Correct.
It varies.
You
Yeah.
look at your explanation of benefits, when you get one, it'll say charged amount, and then it'll say allowed amount. Well, the allowed amount is the contracted price, and each provider is different. There's no way to zero in on what each one is. They don't want you to, but it's a lot less than just what they charge.
Right.
All
So-
right, can we go back just a second to
Sure.
the last screen?
Can you go back, Chris?
I realize that Glenn is not here, but when I talked to Glenn last week about this, one of the things that she told me was that there was a $50/$100.
Right. The judge has decided to make that a recommendation of 50.
Okay, so
And we can talk about that, but in any past years, any plans, we've never paid anything towards somebody's family plan. And I don't understand why you would pay $100 towards a family. And it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going to use me as an example, but I don't have a family plan. There's many employees here that maybe don't have a family plan, and so the ones that do have a family plan, they're getting extra $100 or extra 50
Per paycheck.
per paycheck, whereas, or per month, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's per month.
Family, isn't
Than
it
what
50,
you're paying
100
somebody
per
that
month?
does just
100
on
per month,
single
50 per
plan.
paycheck?
I
50
think
per
so,
paycheck. But you're giving it per paycheck.
the other question I had on this was, even though that I realized the difference between this and a flex account, my experience in the past, my own personal experience in the past with my wife, when we tried to use a flex account, and I'm only going to use these as the similarities between them. When we tried to use a flex account, there was, I can't tell you how many times that I went someplace and I gave them her card, which had my name on it, only to find out that they wouldn't accept it because of some pending transaction from some other claim that had been made with it. So my question on that was, what is, and I'm going to have to rely on your experience, is what is your experience in this
Right.
as far as for people? I don't care how much money you got in the account. If you can't go in and give them the card and they use it, it's worthless.
Exactly. Well, HSAs, as you read, are becoming more and more popular, and probably 60-some% of all employers are offering some kind of an HSA option. You would have what we call one of our primary vendors, and it'd probably be Health Equity. I don't know if we zeroed in on that, but Health Equity would manage these accounts. So you would pay the money to help the 50, and then any payroll deductions that the employee decides to contribute as well, and have payroll deducted out pre-tax, would go to them in your account. You get a debit card. Obviously, you can only spend whatever's in that account, and that's kind of what you're saying there. So that's it. I mean, and the other side is everybody. It's not for everybody. Some people have high-cost medicines they're taking. Some people know they're going to have surgeries, things like that, so they wouldn't take it. So you'll have 50% of this population uses less than $500 of medical care a year, less than 500. So in a perfect world, 50% of the members would take that. That won't happen either. But the beauty of this versus that FSA that you're referring to, Magistrate Botkin, is these funds roll over year after year. So if you don't use it, even if you have medical costs or pharmacy costs or root canal or glasses or something like that, you don't even have to use your HS money, because you can keep building that up until you get a significant amount in there, and you can use it forever. Whenever you pass, you got a beneficiary on it.
I like the rollover part of it. That part of it is very attractive because for that one reason. You're putting money in, it builds up, and you can use it. I just want to make sure that they don't
can draw it down.
get to a point that they can use it. They can actually use it.
They'll use it. The debit cards that they issue are, I don't know, there's a technology term for Chris back there, but I don't even know what it is, but it can be taken in any avenue. Providers, some don't, some do. Pharmacies do, you know, so as long as there's funds in there, then it'll
Yeah,
be
I think
transacted.
what you're kind of talking about is if you went to the doctor today and you used your HSA and that transaction, then you go and maybe get a prescription 2 days later, and that transaction hadn't been completed with that company, then they might not allow you to buy that prescription because that transaction that claim hadn't gone all the way through.
Well, it's still
Or
pending.
for whatever reason it's been coded wrong, or a million other things have happened to it. And the past experience I've had with them is that not only is the first thing to do is to freeze the account.
Yeah,
So then whatever else you try to do, you can't get to it.
yeah.
Which is useless if you can't get to it.
And I think that's due to record keeping within the
The
medical field.
and health equity themselves, so. We have heard those issues.
I'll tell you what I really think it is, and I think that this is be a bonus for it. I think that really in the reference that I was giving you was to a flex account, is because if I can keep my money as a company in a flex account until the end of the year, where's that money going?
Back to the
You
employer.
got that right. It's going back to the company. So that's one reason why I like this in that respect.
And what you mentioned there, if you take the HSA, you take the high deductible health plan, which allows you to have the HSA, and that's not anybody's rule, that's a federal rule. And that was even before Obamacare. Okay, so if you take that, you're not eligible to have a full FSA anyway. That's one of the non-eligible facts that you'll run into. Now, if what Colleen, we don't want to get into a whole lot here, but if you're on your spouse's plan and it's a PPO plan, you're not eligible. You can take those benefits, you can take the high deductible health plan, but you can't set up an HSA on that. There are certain rules that we have to, and guidelines that we have to follow.
Okay, the cost to the county, with regards to option 2, we've kind of walked this through step by step, just so you can kind of see where we start. So what we did was took the expected and maximum claims, the average of that, which would be at roughly 1.6 million. We will be closing out our HRA account, so we'll deposit that 100,000. That's a one-time deposit to just clear out the HRA and draw down on the total, so it'll be 100,000. Then obviously the total employee annual contributions is 266,000, and so the remaining balance would be 1.2 and change, 1.2 million and change. If you take that among the 215 employees that we have, annually per employee, it's $5,989.96. You divide that by 12, and then you have the cost of $499 or $500 is the county cost per employee per month. Now, it's important to note that for a United Healthcare plan, we already talked about this, the Baptist Health Plan was 19.5, I put 19 up there, but 19.5 increase with the limited network. But that UHC plan, currently, the number that you saw is going to be a 12% increase. But that is assuming that 100% of the claims billed come in. So if we end up doing employee education, we have a good year, we come under that balance, then obviously it would be less than a 12% increase. You'd be banking that in your self-insured account, and you would use that balance. On the flip side, if you were to go above, then we would use that stop loss and that aggregate loss coverage to cover that. That is factored into this $517 cost. That admin, that insurance for those two plans are factored into that $500.
The 115.
Correct.
Is calculated
It's in
into-
that,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
correct. Obviously, that comes with a larger network, and then it also comes with the health savings account for those using the core plan. Any questions?
I'll flip the lights back on, please. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Guys, do we have any questions? More discussion? if we're ready to make a move on this, I would obviously need a motion in a second. If we need more time, you know, we can obviously call a special meeting no later than next week, I guess, Monday.
May 1st is
Prior to
Monday,
May
right?
1st, correct.
Prior to, so we cap you Friday this week then, correct?
Correct.
I would prefer, Judge, to have a special meeting on this, and the reason is simply this. Under the high plan, where that the individuals would be paying $25 per paycheck, I had asked what would be the cost, and we were showing a 12% increase the way it's written currently at 25. I had asked what would be the cost of that should the court choose to supplement that. In other words, instead of them paying $50 a month, we split it with them. They pay $25 a month, $12.50 a paycheck. At that point in time, Glenda told me that the cost of that would be $515 basically, instead of $500 a month that the county would put in per employee. So she's not here to defend that. We don't have anything other than just what I mentioned on that.
That sounds about right.
I would like to have her here to back that up one way or another.
A few more options.
But when
Here's the reason, and let me tell you why I say this. This is why this is important to me. For everybody sitting up here at this panel right here, at this court, $50 a month is not going to break the bank. But the guy down in the motor pool down there, or the road department that's making $10 an hour, $50 a month is a bag of groceries. That makes a difference. And we're talking about in the terms of guys that will jump ship and go someplace else for employment for 50 cents an hour. All right, so $50 a month, that's a cost. What does it cost us if we lose an employee? Now we're talking about a CDL guy that we've got to find, that we can't find, so we're going to have to hire somebody. We're going to have to train them. We're going to have to pay for CDL license. We're going to have to go through the whole vicious cycle all over again. So there's a cost associated with that. So I would prefer to make the burden as light as possible on the low end guy, the guy making $10 an hour, if we can sustain it.
But on the $25, but it's going to cost them for this higher plan, all right? When you know that's $600 a year, right? That's $25 a paycheck, right? So, but when you look at the deductible of 1,000, 2,000, which would be 1,000 single, 2,000 family, and then you look at the out of pocket of 2,600 to 5,200, whether it's employed, single, or family, and you compare that to either one of our plans on this year. I mean, the way I read this, let's just take the 5,000 annual deductible for an individual versus 1,000 here. Is that, explain that to me? Is that not a, is that a $4,000 savings?
Well, that's a $4,000 HRA that you guys are funding. See, it's actually $1,000 for the employee, so it's the same benefits. It's just when you go self-funded, you do away with the HRA. There's no reason for that, so you save that cost. But as far as the $25, keep this in mind. Last year, both of your options were the same benefits. They were out for the employees, because that's one of the big things you look at is providing a cost-effective benefit program with rich benefits as you can afford. 1,000 deductible, it's exact those benefits is what the employee had on either plan. The difference is on your low option plan, I call it core plan, you had that HMO network only. And I got to commend Baptist for at least coming up with that. They're the only carrier that can have an HMO because and it only works, in my experience, in Madison County, because so many of the providers in Richmond especially, not necessarily in Berea, but in Richmond, are Baptist providers. And so it's the same benefits, but you had a limited network, okay? Now, you have a different benefit, which is the HSA that we're proposing, and that's not for everybody, but eventually, I think it's going to become more and more popular, and as people build up money into their HSA account, they'll start seeing the benefit of that. So that's your new core plan. and then the same benefits that everybody has. If you had the HMO plan, now you're paying whatever you all decide to do, but say 25 a pay period is what it stands here. If you decide to keep that or pay 12.50, whatever you do, is for the value of having the full network. You're not limited to just Baptist. Now, if you had the BHP network, and I know a lot of, several folks did, right?
Yeah.
Where you could go to any provider that's in the large network. Well, you got the same opportunity with United Healthcare, probably, and I'll say a larger network, but say similar. Now you're paying 25, where last year, I think it was higher than that on the 36.30 is what you were paying. So if you were on that BHP high plan, now you got the same benefits, well, I can't say same network, there's never a same network, but just say at least as good a network, and you're paying less money. You're paying less money per paycheck on that. So there's changes. Now, why do you want changes? That's strictly up to you guys, and you guys know I feel your position. You want to offer the best benefits, and you want the employees to be able to, you want to provide it at a low cost, as low a cost ever. On the other hand, you want to hit a budget. You don't want to have to take money from somewhere else to pay something. So I feel that position. I see it every day. And in this particular courtroom, I've got skin in the game as well. A lot of these folks have my cell phone number, and one of them might hit a 3-iron if I hit it good and hit his house over there. So, I hear a lot of feedback as well. So, whatever you decide to use as payroll deductions in this case, that's up to you, but the court, as you said, will have to pick up the difference on that, so.
Well, I understand where Tom's coming from, and I agree with him. I believe if we just had a little more time to analyze all this, because it is a lot, even what you said, and then maybe talk to some of the department heads, explain it to them, and get their input also. I mean, just cause us five up here make decisions, we're making it for, how many employees do we have, Rachel? 215. See, we're making it for everybody, so, majority always rules, and I agree with that, but sometimes you need to take in their concern, as Tom said, and see if we can make it a little better. I mean, what's another week?
Well, now, how's your timing coming to play here?
We would just have to have a special session this week by Friday, no later than Friday, because we need to be able to have materials to the employees to make their selection on their plan by May 1st.
But this is not a goal that you've got. This is a mandate that you've got to have something ready by May 1.
There's no way the timeline to have it deducted on the paycheck for the state.
Right, so you've got very limited time, and special meeting's fine, and so long as we comply with the notice statutes, but there's not a whole lot of time left.
It would be this week.
And one thing I want to make mention is that, Rachel deals with our employees pretty much on a daily basis, and Colleen does as well, and they've heard concerns of employees as well. And a lot of this decision making we've taken into consideration in what we've proposed here today. So, a lot of people complained about maybe not being able to use their doctors when we went to that Baptist Health Plan last year and had to change doctors. And so, that was one of the benefits of this United Healthcare. So,
Rachel, what is the number one thing or the biggest part that employees come to you and ask you? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Probably network.
Network?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not being able to use the same doctors they've been using forever, which isn't saying that under UHC they would be covered, but that's just something that the employee would have to look into and make sure that they're covered.
How many took the higher plan, percentage-wise, do you know? Or number?
Majority.
The higher plan?
No,
35%.
Took the higher plan?
That's last year, right?
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they may be more this time, the way it's set up.
Well, again, it's same benefits on the high plan, and the HSA plan is just one size doesn't fit.
But it's $10 cheaper too,
Which one?
higher plan this year. If we go
Oh,
with.
you're talking about the payroll deductions,
Yeah.
if you keep them the way that's projected.
It's $10, I know, 'cause I know what I pay.
$11
Yeah.
per paycheck.
Decrease.
Decrease.
Decrease for the ones who took the high plan. And the ones who took the low plan, as I said, they're, yeah, they're paying a little more, but they get the broad network instead of the HMO network.
I mean,
So when you compare this high plan, this UHC high plan, to last year's high plan,
Same.
it's the same.
Same, now it shows up as that 5,000 on your spreadsheet there, but that's with the HRA behind the scenes,
Yeah.
which was an outside cost, and, you know, that's just the way we were able to keep the costs affordable was by using that HRA.
But if you're talking about the high plan, we're talking about this year, for an individual, that they're gonna pay $25 a paycheck to have that high plan. And last year, they would've been paying $72 a paycheck.
I think it was a
36.
month, I think it was a month there.
36.
Oh, this is a month.
Paycheck.
36.
Yeah, so that's.
It's a difference
so
of
that's-
$11.
So I,
$11.
yeah, so, Tom, I know that's not what you understood from Glenn, because we had this discussion, and that's why I've been confused. Is this high plan here is compared to the high plan last year, and it's actually cheaper on those people that took the high plan
With a broader network.
with a broader network. Yeah,
You're saving money for the people that's on the high plan, but on the low plan, you're actually gone.
Unless they stay on the low plan.
But if they stay on the low plan, they have the HSA option.
but
Which for
why,
those
Well,
people that are
they're-
gonna
they
select
got
the
a
low
broader-
plan, it's a benefit.
And
If
it's
you
on
have
the
broader
broad
pool.
network.
You got a broader network.
but if they stay on the low plan, what was your
They're
comment,
getting
John?
$50 a month added to their flex card, basically.
Their HSA. Yeah.
That's right. So in essence, if you were to compare plans to plans, last year, if you were to look at, you paid $0 for the core plan with no HSA. You're gonna pay $0 this year, but you're gonna have an HRA of $50 that rolls and travels with you.
HSA.
HSA, that's HRA.
There's a lot of acronyms there.
Alphabet soup. And then if you go with the high plan, you're gonna see a reduction in what the cost for the employee will be from $36 per paycheck down to $25 per paycheck, including a wider network. So for all employees that would be in, United is a broader network with the additional HSA component for the single and a reduction for the high plan.
So this would be United Healthcare?
Correct, which is what we
Well,
have
we've
had
had that.
historic, we did for quite some time,
You were
yes.
fully insured with it. You'll have United Healthcare and UMR on your card.
Right.
Okay, so that's what it claims.
And in the long and short of it is, this whole process is a constant evolution because of the way in which the Affordable Care Act and the insurance industry is going. Every year that you look at it, last year, Baptist Health was a great opportunity for us when we compared the numbers. It was the best decision at that time for our employees. You're looking at new numbers and a new day, and now with this plan option, we have a better option this year. Next year we'll reevaluate. It's why the process for us is so extensive, because the industry is changing so quickly and the medical costs are growing so exponentially.
But I know you can't give me an exact figure, but just like my regular doctor bill, and it's with Baptist Health here in Richmond, where I go to the doctor. A doctor's visit starts out, the billed amount is $136. With the contract that they got, the allowable makes it $78.06. The low plan, that's what
Exactly.
you'd be paying $78.06 for you
Yeah,
pay. Like the
United
plan I
may even
got
have
now.
I doubt they have a richer reimbursement, but it'll be in that percentage. Yes, you pay the discounted amount allowed.
And I'm assuming that most doctor visits is gonna be $100 to $150 probably for any of them.
Should be, specialists a little more, but keep in mind, if you take the high plan, Roger, it's a copay.
Oh, I know, $25.
That's
That's
whatever
That's
you
a
copay.
copay at a contracted rate, right? In other words,
Yeah,
it's
the rest
it's the
of
same
it is,
deal. It's
the
still a
rest of,
copay, but
yeah, the copay for the
contract
employees,
one
I
is
think, is what you guys are.
But that's up to $3,000 too.
right.
Tom, how's this stack up to what you had?
Well, no.
That's a good
That's a
question.
very good question, because this is very similar to what I have. I have an 80-20, just exactly what this is at.
I don't have a limitation. I don't have a network of doctors. I can go to any doctor I want to, but I'm gonna pay 20% of the bill. So, I mean, that's just the way that they are. That's with government insurance.
TRICARE?
TRICARE.
Right.
Well, and I know it's gonna take, how long will it take you for the
Well,
enrollment?
and let me address that real quick.
Yeah.
And these folks coming behind me are gonna hate hearing all this, but first thing, I wanna commend your staff here, okay? Colleen, Rachel's great for being so, new to this, and Glenna's always a big avenue, to work with, so they do a great job. As far as timing, I'd love to have had this to you 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, but nothing was firm. Behind the scenes, we continually have to get updated claims, get firm rates. There's no sense in coming here and voting on something that may change. So the stop loss is firm, everything's firm. This was the earliest we could get this done.
That was my concern, and I voiced my concern to Rachel yesterday, and I wasn't picking on her, but she's part of the plan, so. But I just thought it was short notice for us to have to try to figure out all this at one time,
Right.
you know.
I'll take the blame for that, but our hands are tied. I mean, we've gotta get you something that's firm and final. There's no sense.
Well, it wouldn't do you no good
Well,
walking
that's
in here
what
and
I'm saying. No
offering
sense.
something that's not gonna happen.
Right, or, somebody be excluded or something like that. This is all firm. The biggest two things you look at there, the employees, okay, you got the same benefits that they have now for the high plan. You're offering another plan, for the folks who that may be appealing to them, the HSA. You're offering that for them. So the employees, and then it's just a matter of how much do you want them to pay a paycheck. And I think you've come up with some, good numbers there. And then the rest is the county's responsibility. But as far as do you stay, and this is a decision I don't know if you all have addressed yet, do you stay with Baptist, keep the same benefits, eat a 19.5% increase, okay, fully insured, keep the HMO, keep the same plans you have now, and pay that, and then you're gonna, next year you're still fully insured, you're still looking at that, or do you go ahead and go to the self-funding, knowing that the employees are pretty much the same, you are offering a different benefit plan, which and move to UMR, United Healthcare.
But I'd like to say that, there's no doubt you're offering us the best option here with United Health over the Baptist Health. I just got a question for Willie and Scott in the back there. How many of your employees do you feel like would take the high option or can afford to take the high option here rather than just the low option where you have very limited benefits to it? Do you have many that would feel comfortable with doing that, Willie?
No, I think we're gonna take the low option.
And then you have very, very limited, payoff there on your insurance,
And that's the decision that you guys can make, whether it be today or later, as far as how much you're gonna charge for the high plan.
How much the county's gonna contribute to
Well, he just
the
said,
high options.
you just said 50% of your people only use about $500 a
Or
year.
less. Some of them don't even go one thing we didn't mention, is your preventive care is covered at 100% under either plan. No cost to the member, okay? So get a routine fiscal, whatever goes along with that, there's no cost, okay? So folks who don't use it a lot, or aren't on a lot, even if you're on a smaller cost medicine, maybe 10, 15, something like that, the HSA, or the high deductible health plan, the core plan would be the right option for you, because you still get a routine physical, it doesn't cost you anything.
And I think the important thing for us is to make sure that we as a staff are informing our employees how to be proper consumers of health insurance. With regards to the low plan, if you're an individual that is very sick and you're going to have to make a decision about your health and how your health relates to your coverage. But for the individual that's going to pick up the low plan, they're going to pick up that low plan regardless of the offering. At least in this scenario, you've got the HSA, so they're able to use it at the dentist. They're able to use it for their eyeglasses. They're able to use it for prescriptions. They at least have an increased bang for their buck, even at that core plan with a wider network.
What if you take the low plan and 2 months into the insurance policy, you develop something serious health issue? Can you anytime switch over? You're
Not
locked
like
in.
you
No, you have to have a
Open
change
it
in
up.
circumstance. There are certain changes in circumstances that get flagged, but no. That is why individuals get supplemental AFLAC, short-term disability. That's why they proactively get additional policies to cover what-if
Again,
moments.
Well,
Cancer policies, things
That's
like that.
insurance, or
well, it is, but your worst case scenario is 5,000, and you can pay $100 a month or whatever you have to pay. That's
That's what I pay.
That's your maximum out of pocket, period. Well, actually, it's 4,400 because you guys are putting in 50 a month, so it's 4,400 is your worst case scenario.
But
If
that-
something happens,
But on the deductible, I thought was
3,000. But
It's
then you got
3,000.
20%.
Then you got 20% between the 3 and 5, yeah.
5,000 total, which is 4,400 with your HSA contribution.
My only concern was, and I expressed this with Judge, Roger, John, Tom, my concern was, I want the best we can get at the cheapest price for our employees. Myself, I don't care. I do care, don't get me wrong, but I want to make this clear. My concern is our employees.
Well, and that's my concern as well. What you just said is what we do, okay? We know the marketplace, we know, who's out there. There's no sense in marketing somebody that's another TPA that has to rent networks, and they may come in with lower admin, but their claims are gonna be, their reimbursements are less, meaning you're paying more for claims. So we know all that, so. I feel like we've got you where you need to be. I will commend Baptist on being very flexible with us with that HRA and Connect Your Care for 2 or 3 years. That kept you fully insured. And then last year, that HMO was unheard of. I don't know of any other broker that sold that because it really only works in Richmond, where most of the providers around here are Baptist. It won't work in other areas. So that's
Baptist
kind of dried up now.
Not Baptist, Baptist Health.
Baptist Health.
Okay, thank
They
you.
own Baptist Health Plan, okay, they own that, so it's all kind of tied, but I commend them, they've done a very good job, and we're lucky to have them in our community. They're very, very good. So, yes, what you just said, that's my job, and I take very, very, very much pride in providing that. Now, I know, like we said, Raj, this is new, but for the employees themselves, same benefits, different benefit options for those who choose it. And other than that, they're gonna see a wider network, obviously, with UHC.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know who took the high plan and didn't as far as the 30-something%, but about bet the guy that's out here working every day
on $10 an hour, probably didn't take
right, didn't take that high plan.
I can tell you this, most of your large claimants were on the high plan.
Right. Like for myself, at my age and what health problems I know I got, I'll probably take the high plan, just because I know I right now don't go to the doctor a whole lot. I'm getting older and I know I will be. But for somebody but I'm like Tom, I worry about the guy, and I said this, and I know we don't pay for all their insurance, but the guy that's married and got 3 kids, if you got 3 kids and a wife and yourself, more than likely within a 2 or 3 month period, a couple of you is going to be to the doctor. If it's nothing but for a checkup or just feeling bad, But that money, and I know by paperwork, if he already had the high plan, it's cheaper now. More than likely, he didn't have the high plan already, so it is going to cost him money. That's my problem. And I got to take this insurance just like the regular worker out there. And it's a concern to me, but I know what I got to do. But I'm trying, like Larry and all of us, we're trying to look out for the worker that's hopefully dedicated to us.
Let me ask one question, just for time purposes and paperwork needs to be signed. The plan actually needs to be built out in UHC system. Could you maybe take a vote on moving to UHC, self-fund UMR, take a vote on that, and then if you want to discuss how much, that's between, you know, you can do that, say Friday in a special meeting or whatever, and discuss that, and then let us know so we can get the printed materials out on schedule for that. It's not our schedule, it's your all schedule because of the payroll deductions and the open enrollment and the whole 9 yards. Is that a possibility to get that ball rolling? Or
Well, I would think it would be, and here's another question. We're gonna take one plan or the other.
you have to do something.
We
Can't
don't
stay
have no
where
other
you are.
choice.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't bother me if the rest of them.
But at the end of the day, what everybody's there's no concern about the high plan now, correct? Tom, with it being cheaper, I mean, do you now that we realize it's cheaper than what last year's high plan is, that plan is the same.
Well, and
So now it comes to the low plan of people being out of pocket $3,000 before insurance kicks in, which we're giving them $600 a year. We're saying. So I mean, the decision there is how much. I mean, how much does it make worthwhile to give them to make you all feel like this is a good plan?
Well, of the two, it is the best plan.
well, hold on. I'm still in a twist on this because I can only go on what was explained to me.
I understand.
I spent a lot of time over with Glenna. All right, so here's what she told me. She told me that our high plan that we're looking at this year was the exact same plan that they didn't pay anything for last year. Now, am I wrong on that or am I right on it? Somebody needs to straighten me out, because if that's a non-issue, then we can go forward. If that is an issue, then we need to talk about it.
She's correct in the fact that the benefits are the same, but the difference is the network. You had, that low plan last year was that Baptist only network, and that was Rachel's biggest complaint, probably calling Lena as well. But you were confined. If you took that low plan, you were confined in that network. That's the only difference. The benefits are the same. So she's correct, but you had that limited network.
So you're looking at expanded network for the same plan, but it's gonna cost you $50 for the same thing you got last year on limited network for nothing, correct? Is that a correct
I don't
statement?
know what the value, you're right. I don't know what the value of trading that in.
So then this is not a. All right, I think that we
Make
need.
my head hurt.
I think you need to have a
I think we need to have a special meeting Tuesday. Let's move on. I mean Friday. Friday. We need to have a special meeting Friday. We want to say 9:30, just like we do fiscal court meetings. Special meeting Friday 9:30 here at the courthouse, and everybody just do their homework between now and then. All right.
I'll have somebody.
All right.
Is that
Try to get it in 30 minutes.
suitable for you?
It doesn't matter about me. We got a deep bench. I'll bring Stephanie. She can be here or somebody. We'll get somebody here. Glenn will be here
Yeah.
too, and she's very versed.
All right.
So is Rachel.
Thanks, bud.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Sorry for
Thanks.
everybody else.
Uh,
So what's that? Complex.
yeah, I'm sure they'll have to move on that.
We feel
I can't help it.
Richmond registered page on that.
Huh?
You not gonna print all that?
I try to explain that, I'm just
No.
confused.
So we're gonna take 5 minutes. Everybody.
Out of order. Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Guys, at this time in the recess we had there, actually something came in the mail that I'd like to amend the agenda on. And this is discretionary funds that we requested several months back.
Judge, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but can we have a point of order here just for a second?
Sure.
On the insurance issue, can we have, I'd like to make a motion that we table that until a Friday
Well,
meeting.
no, we're not gonna table it, we're gonna actually issue, because tabling will put it to the next regular meeting, and we're gonna actually schedule a special meeting for Friday at 9:30.
Do we need a motion to have a special scheduled meeting?
That's going to be done, well, quite frankly, I assume that it has been done based upon our conversation, but Francet will send notice out that there will be a special meeting this Friday at 9:30.
Right.
And I think that complies with all the advertisements required to be pursuant to the Open Records Act. So tabling would actually put it way past the. Okay, do we still need a motion to do that?
Sure wouldn't hurt. I mean, I think everybody's consented to the meeting this Friday. You know,
I mean, we can, I don't know if it requires a
But the
motion.
judge can schedule, but if
But
you
I-
wanna take a motion to make you feel better, let's do it and go on, yeah.
I don't wanna feel better, I wanna do it right. I don't care
It
whether I
doesn't-
feel better
it's-
about
it's
it or not.
It's not wrong this way, it's not wrong if you do it.
Okay.
Cause I have the authority to call a special meeting.
I apologize for interrupting.
Exactly.
Continue.
Thank you. No, I agree, Tom. I want it done right too, so, I'm not gonna disagree with that. So, just moving in, I know Chris is ready, but, we just happened to get this in. We've been waiting on it. I had gotten a phone call that we were gonna be getting some discretionary funds, through the transportation cabinet. And this will be resolution 1704, which allows us to, resurface 2 roads in our county. One of those roads is on Curtis Pike, and the other road is on Combs Ferry Road. When we sent our discretionary list in, the state chose these roads, so I don't know if they came out and looked at these roads and that's what they chose from the list we sent. We sent in a request of $400-something in discretionary, I believe, Willie. I think that's right. It's 400. Originally it was 712, and then once we reworked it, it's 400. But we got they're sending us 174,206 in discretionary funds, and so I would ask the court to make a motion to approve resolution 1714 and allow me to go into an agreement with the Kentucky.
How much was the total to us?
174,206, and it specifies on here to resurface the following county roads: Curtis Pike, which is CR 1251 from Kentucky 595, extending easterly to Arbuckle Road for approximately 1.65 miles, and then Combs Ferry Road, CR 1316 from Kentucky 627, extending northerly to the end of the county maintenance for approximately 1.841 miles.
So moved.
Second.
If there's no more discussion, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bachman.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes, thank you a lot, guys. Chris, you're up. Next is the award bid for the replacement of data storage. I think this is for out of EMA, is that correct?
Correct. This is for a network attached storage system to replace the current one at CSEP. We put the bids out and we opened them yesterday at 4:30 with Clerk Barger. We received one bid from CDWG in the amount of $29,321.66. They were the only bidder. I would like to ask for your permission to enter into negotiations with CDW because they did fail to leave one of the items off of the bid, and per the administrative code, since they were the only bidder, we're allowed to go back to them and get that added on there. This product is what they call deal registration. So basically, as soon as I contacted CDWG to purchase this, they get the lowest price from the company. So anybody else that comes after the fact gets a lower one. So all these people that I notified and it was on the website that it was available to bid, they call and find out CDW's already got the deal registration. They just don't bid. So that's why you only see one, is because CDW was the people we were dealing with and they were offered the lowest price. So they left the maintenance off of there, is what it ends up being.
Did you have an estimate on that?
Yeah, we already knew what it was gonna be because they gave us the deal price.
Okay.
But since it was over 20, we had to go to bid, even though we knew what was gonna happen. It's an unfortunate,
You
thing
feel like
we
that's a
put
fair
ourselves in.
price, Chris?
Oh, yeah. These are usually 28 to 40% off, and I've been assured that we're in that top end of like 30% off of the retail price. So
What do you, well, go ahead.
No.
If you want to make a
No,
motion.
no, go ahead.
I can have
yeah,
discussion
make the recommendation to go into negotiations with CDW to purchase the replacement storage device. That
Yeah,
way I
well-
can get the maintenance added on there. The
I
price
move-
is like
I move you go ahead
$32,000.
and do that.
I'll second it.
What do you anticipate the extra being? Do you have?
It'll, instead of being 29.3, it'll be 32.5.
Okay. And is that something that is paid through?
That's all CSUB.
It's all CSEP.
And what we did is we bought an alike piece of equipment to what we already have since we're moving out there. It is strictly for them, but that just makes it better. We're standardizing on the same equipment. We all have the same stuff now, so
Yep.
it'll be better
Okay.
for all of us.
Sounds good, Chris. Thanks a lot. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any
Who was the
discussion?
second? I didn't catch that.
I did.
John.
John.
Thank you.
No more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Master Bachman.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next, Scott Tussey's gonna come up and talk to us about our award bid for the the dump site that we have on Chapel Road.
That is correct, Judge. Good morning, everyone. We received 4 bids on April 13th at 11 a.m. that were properly opened by the clerk's office and recorded. At this point, I would like to recommend Rick Childers Excavating to do this illegal dump cleanup at 229 Chapel Road, or Chapel Road in Berea. We had worked prior with Rick Childers Excavating on 4 other dump cleanups dating back to 2014 and have had no issues, and he's done a great job for us in the past.
Did you have a cost on that?
Figure.
Scott, I don't have. $25,550.
Yes,
Okay.
$25,550 is the bid for the labor and the equipment for the cleanup
Yep.
of the dump.
And there's a little miscellaneous in there. I'm sure it's probably seed,
Seed,
straw,
straw, silt fence.
Yeah.
Does that include the disposal line?
No, this bid does not include the disposal. The county will take care of the disposal and the trucking of the.
Explain the grant though, just so they understand the total.
The total of the grant was from the state government, from our waste management funds that come from the state Division of Waste Management. During the grant application, the grant award was $66,000. So we've got anything over a $50,000 grant with the state government, with the state waste management. There is no county match, so this is 100% from a fund that is for illegal dump cleanups and recycling grants and HHW grants. This is what that fund is, the funding from this comes from.
Yeah, there's no cost to the county on this. So.
That is created from
and,
the dollars.
And I also want to mention that there was 4 bidders. Rick Childers was the second bidder he was $900 more than low bidder. But their experience, the county's experience, Scott's experience, the job that he's done is why he's recommending that for $900 to make sure that we don't have any issues, which is worth it, in my opinion.
Whose property is that on?
It is Chenault Rowena Estate Trust, and the property is actually within the confines of the city limits of Berea's annexation. I've been working with the city of Berea on this project. What happened is that the way that the KRSs are written, only county governments can apply for these illegal dump grants. So
It's been there forever.
it has.
It's a mess.
If you look back, it's been there several years.
Been there as long as I can remember.
Yep.
Judge, I move we employ Rick Childers for the illegal dump cleanup.
Second.
All right. No discussion. Call the roll.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Next, Chief Herford is going to come up and award the bid for the rescue equipment bid. Or recommend, I said award. You're going to recommend to us.
Yes. On Friday, we opened our bids for our vehicle extrication equipment. There were 2 bidders. The first bidder was America's Bravest Equipment out of Louisville. Second bidder was Windfire Equipment LLC out of Corbin. The low bidder was America's Bravest at $28,945.28. However, they did not meet our bid specs on several points. They also did not include hose reels for the equipment that we put in our bid specs. So my recommendation is to go with Windfire at $31,000, which they met every point of our bid specs. Also, they included the hose reels, and another point of wanting to go with Windfire is they are providing us TNT brand rescue equipment, which City of Richmond has, the rescue squad already has, BGAD Fire Department already has. So if we operate with any of those, there's no training issue with using a different brand of equipment, which America's Bravest is Amicus, which is a different brand. So my recommendation on that is to go with Windfire at $31,000 with the TNT, who met all our bid specs.
And that is a $25,000 grant that we got.
Yes, we got a $25,000 grant, so
So will our cost be a little over $60,000 bucks.
I make that motion upon your recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion, guys?
Sounds good.
Call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Next, Kenny Barger, motor vehicle boat compensation.
We've been here so long, I forgot I had something on the agenda.
Yeah.
I forgot it, I've already paid mine.
You can skip
I
it.
know what it
Well,
costs.
this is, every year by statute comes up, we've got 81,817 vehicles in Madison County. It's almost as many people as we have. And the
That
county
include-
reimburses
Is that including boats and everything though, right? That's
everything we
vehicles.
send a little card
Card
out.
out, yeah.
And the county reimburses 15 cents per vehicle, so it's $12,272.60. That will, y'all be sending us, which we have excess fees every year. It's just
Man, we always gotta take care of them, guys.
yeah,
I mean,
putting money from one pocket into the
yeah,
other
always
right now.
paying the clerk or something.
That's right.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, as long as we get
I'm
that.
trying to see what I can do.
Remember that figure.
Yeah. So I need
I hope it's a little bigger than that when you get it.
Yeah, I do too.
so I need a motion, and a second to, approve county clerk's claim for calculation of motor vehicles and boat bills for 2017.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bakker.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Just Taylor.
Yes. All right, next, is, to approve, or to allow me, the county judge, to go into contract, with, electrical inspector, Dale Fortney. First off, appreciate again, Larry, for making sure that I'm doing my job, so
Well, that-
I greatly appreciate that.
Well, that wasn't that you know what I'm.
Yep, I know exactly. But we did make some changes from what was on Dropbox, because what we put on Dropbox was basically just a copy of what Richmond's contract is, which we have different terms than what Richmond does. But Richmond City has contracted out Dale for years as electrical inspector. And obviously when we lost our previous electrical inspector, he's been filling in on a temporary basis, waiting for us to find one. We can't find one. And according to KRS, we cannot, he cannot provide that service to us unless we have an actual contract with him. And so the terms of our contract is that we pay for basically all residential electrical inspections. That could be, and it's single family dwellings, so that could be a barn, that could be a service change out, a service upgrade, a new construction, remodel, whatever it might be. But it's all single family dwellings. Is he gets $50 per trip, and then multifamily, light commercial, heavy commercial, he gets 50% of the fee that we charge. Of course, everybody should have a fee sheet. If you don't, it is on our website, and if that's not convenient, we can get you a copy of it. And so that's how we'll be compensating him for his services to the county. Also, it is for this contract is good for a year, which it can automatically renew, but there's also a 30-day out by either party, no matter what. So if we so choose to continue looking for electrical inspector in the future and have one, then we'll work that out with Dale at that point. But I appreciate his willingness to help. I mean, we already sort of had a mutual aid agreement with him anyway when we had our electrical inspector. When he took vacation, we would cover for them at the city of Richmond, and then if or vice versa, if our guy took vacation, he would. So we've always had a pretty good relationship since I've been here with Dale and helping each other out. We are also responsible for processing the permits and all that local on our end, down at the codes and planning office.
Okay.
So, does anybody have any questions? If not, I need a motion and a second to allow me to go into a contract with Dale Fortney as our contracted electrical inspector.
So move.
Second.
No discussion? Call the roll.
Master Bakker.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. At this time, I would like just to recognize with a certificate of retirement to a firefighter that's actually retiring. I think his last day is the end of this month, I believe. The 30th, which is yep. Chris Graham has been recognized for outstanding achievement in having served faithfully and honorably with the dedication to the safety of the citizens of Madison County. So I just want to, Chief, if I can, present this certificate to you and give to Chris. We appreciate his service. Obviously, any of the magistrates, any elected officials that maybe see him, please thank him for what he's done. I think he's been with the county for 20 years. Yeah, so,
I think all along, yeah.
yeah, so, thank you, Chief. Next.
Get Nancy back there, you know, he can come up.
Yeah, I know, he's about to die.
You didn't even have to call his name?
Yeah.
He's excited to get steady.
I just like nobody's falling asleep yet. They're paying attention. I didn't have to call in. Scott, appreciate you being here today. You have a recommendation to the
Yes.
court for a hire in Madison County Road Department.
I'd like to recommend that we hire Shelby Dunnigan. He's a Madison County resident. He has Class A CDLs. He's well known in the community, has a great reputation. Think he'd be a great addition. $13 per hour, the CDL driver starting pay, and we'd like for him to go work tomorrow.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion, call the roll.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Hey, thanks, Scott. Next, judge's report. I'm gonna run through some of these just announcements of things and community events that's going on, and then I'm gonna take a brief minute to talk about our mandatory pre-bid that we had yesterday. There'll be a 5K run walk benefiting Liberty Place Recovery Center for Women. That's this coming Saturday, April the 29th, beginning at 8 a.m., and it's out at our Whitehall Park, out there off Whitehall State Shrine Road. Also, Friends of Boone's Trace will be hosting a planning workshop on Monday, May 1st, beginning at 6 p.m. at the Perkins Building on EKU's campus. This is a workshop to start really discussing our Boone Gap, little overlook, the little historic site that we just voted on a few weeks ago with Rock Castle and taking that over from the state. So anybody interested in that original road Daniel Boone took from, I guess, Kingsport, Tennessee to Boonesboro, that will be on May 1st at 6 o'clock at the Perkins Building at EKU. There will be a special ceremony commemorating the National Day of Prayer on Thursday, May 4th, here at 12 o'clock noon at the Madison County Courthouse. Hospice Care Plus's annual Derby Eve Gala will be Friday, May 5th, beginning at 6 p.m. at Chenault Vineyards on Barnes Mill Road. For more information, call or to make reservations, contact Sarah Rollins at 859-756-4755, or you can visit Hospice Care Plus's website. There will be a car show, Raj. This will be for you. There will be a car show at Madison Central on Saturday, May the 6th, beginning at 8 a.m. This show will be held in the Health Building lot off North 2nd Street, and the rain date is Sunday, May the 7th. The proceeds benefit Madison Central Special Education Department, so that should be a good event. There will be an introduction to beekeeping class on Saturday, May the 6th at 11 a.m. during the downtown Richmond Farmers Market on North 1st Street. And then following that next Saturday will be the Strawberry Festival at the Downtown's Market on May 13th, beginning at 9 a.m. And that's right here on 1st Street. Coffee with a Cop will be Saturday, May 13th, 8:30 to 10:30 at the Chick-fil-A in Richmond Center. So anybody interested in the Coffee with a Cop, May 13th, 8:30 to 10:30. I want to just give a court update. Yesterday, obviously, we put the RFP out a few weeks back. We had a mandatory pre-bid meeting yesterday. It really exceeded my expectations of how many potential bidders we would have. There was actually 39 in attendance, actually at the JIC, which was somewhat of a confidence booster. Obviously, Mark came, and I appreciate him being there. When we asked how many in the room were actually planning on bidding on it, I couldn't count all the hands fast enough, but there was 20 plus. And so we're very, very, very excited. A lot of great questions, a lot of excitement, I really feel like. So I'm really excited about the opportunity the county might have to really go in a different direction with our crime problem, our incarceration problem, and this drug, and to fight this drug epidemic that we all battle daily. So just an update there. Next is comments from department heads. We don't have very many left, and they're all probably ready to get out, so I'll move right on. You lost your chance. Comments from masters. Roger.
I'm gonna pass up, just do time, short time, haven't got much to say.
Thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Glad you're here. John.
I don't have much either. I know we gotta get out in a hurry, but, I had a couple calls this week on some road situations, and I drive out there to the area, and Wheeling, his crew's already out there. I'd just like to commend those guys. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Tom?
I've been winded enough today, Judge. I'm like Larry, I'm glad to be here.
I got one thing, Judge, I heard on the way in this morning about Saturday, they're having something at the airport, grand reopening.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it, but I heard it this morning on the radio. They're gonna have barbecue and
Okay.
it's gonna be.
Is it, I wonder if it's that, is it that,
Open house?
what they have there with the kids?
Young Eagles.
Yeah.
Was it the,
Anyone 17 and down can fly free that day.
so I bet that's what it is. I haven't heard about it.
Well,
So.
I was gonna call Dr. Walker, but when I got in a hurry, I didn't, but I was just gonna say.
And that's this Saturday?
That's what I understood.
All right, I'll
I
check
didn't
into
get
it.
the time.
I haven't seen it yet, so.
Okay.
But
Other than that, I'm just glad to be here.
Glad you're here.
And I wanna thank the court for their input on their insurance.
Yeah, it was good. It was a long meeting today, but these are good meetings. Yep, a lot of good
Real
things.
quickly,
Sure.
there's some work going on at the front of the courthouse. What's the status of that, and when can people expect that to be open for use again? I've had several people asking.
So we've closed well, we haven't closed it. You can still access the front door through the ramp because that's our ADA compliance area for people in wheelchairs or whatever to be able to disabled to come in the front door.
Okay.
So they're gonna pour everything but that and do all that this week, and then on Friday night at 4:30, they will actually start tearing out that section and pour it on Saturday. So everything will be back reopened, cleaned up on Monday.
New steps, is that the?
New steps, yeah. We've had a lot of people since I've been here. I would say at least 6 people have fallen on our ramp, on the stairs, and when you look at our porch, nothing really was in compliance with the updated codes for commercial codes. The rises, and I could get into a lot of detail, obviously being that my background, but the rises were all off. They weren't what they needed to be. I mean, obviously when I came in, we didn't even have handrails, so I actually added some handrails, knowing that I'd be redoing it.
But this week will be the.
This week will be.
Project, okay, thank you.
Yep.
I guess the weather's got a lot to do with it. We don't know.
It does, and they're actually pouring everything today, except the ramp. So they've actually moved along pretty good.
Yeah.
And got it started yesterday demoing, and so it's actually good. Yep, it's going well. So Kenny, do you have anything to add?
No.
Sheriff? Doug?
No.
No. All right. Appreciate everybody being here. Comments from the audience. We really don't have anybody left. Bill, please don't talk.
We have one
Okay.
woman and we waited her out.
Yeah. I need a motion and a second to approve the claims, approve the transfers, pay the claims.
So move. Second.
No discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Barger,
Yes.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Mr. Bucket.
Yes.
Mr. Combs.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next court date,
Berea, right?
it is Berea. Yeah, next court date, Tuesday, May 9th, 2017 at 9:30. It'll be in Berea.
But a special meeting Friday.
But we'll have a special meeting this Friday at 9:30. Yep.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Mr. Bucket.
Yes.
Mr. Combs.
Yes.
Mr. Barger.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.